I left my Lamborghini unattended for less than 3 minutes. Barely enough time to grab ice cream for my daughter. When I returned, it wasn't just damaged. It was butchered. Long, vicious grooves slashed across $300,000 of Italian perfection, carved there by a 16-year-old girl, wearing glitter lip gloss and a look of pure satisfaction. Her mother didn't apologize. She called the police on me, claiming I'd frightened her child. That story didn't last long. When the Dashcam footage rolled in court, the smirk vanished, replaced by tears, a judge's gavel, and a bill so large it made Karen's HOA dues look like spare change. The sun was ruthless that Saturday, reflecting off the chrome accents of my Aventador as I eased into the Scoop Haven parking lot. My 8-year-old Lily had been pleading for mint chip all week. 3 minutes, I told her, locking the doors and smoothing her hair. I remember noticing an SUV parked crooked a couple spaces away, a flash of red blouse visible inside. I dismissed it, just another suburban weekend. But when I walked back out, cone dripping in my hand, something was off. My car wasn't sitting right. It leaned slightly, as if someone had leaned into it. Then I saw the damage. Not light scratches, key marks. Long, deliberate gouges down the driver's side, deep enough to expose raw carbon fiber. My stomach sank like it had fallen through ice. Before I could even react, a voice sliced through the lot. "Oh, boo-hoo. Did poor little rich guy lose his toy?" I turned. A heavy-set woman in her mid-40s stepped out of the SUV, red blouse stretched tight as she folded her arms, wearing the expression of someone who believed she'd already won. Behind her stood a lanky teenage girl, eyeliner smudged, lazily twirling a keychain and half-smiling. "That's my car," I said evenly. She laughed. "Yeah, and my daughter was just admiring it. Maybe if you didn't parade your expensive junk around, people wouldn't get tempted." "Mom," the girl cut in, suddenly uneasy. "He's got cameras." The woman froze. Her eyes flicked to my windshield, where the small Whiskey AI Dashcam blinked red. I pulled out my phone. Let's see how much she admired it. Right there in the parking lot, under the glaring sun, the footage played. The sound of ice cream dripping onto pavement echoed as I hit play. The video showed the girl strolling up to my car like she owned it, pausing to glance around. Then, without hesitation, she dragged her keys down the side, slow, intentional, like she was autographing metal. The mic even caught her whisper, "Oops," before she walked away. Her mother's face drained of color in seconds. That's not what happened," she snapped, voice cracking. "She was just pointing. The angle's wrong. That footage is edited." I didn't raise my voice. "It's 4K, GPS stamped, night vision capable, and uploaded to the cloud in real time." The girl's smirk disappeared. She tugged at her mom's sleeve. "Mom, maybe we should just—" "Don't you hush," the woman barked, then spun back to me. "You think you're special because you drive a fancy car? My husband's on the HOA board. We'll fine you for unauthorized vehicle display." I stared at her. "You're threatening me because your daughter vandalized my car?" Sirens approached. Someone had already called it in. "Good," she said, squaring her shoulders. "You're harassing a minor. I'll press charges." The officer arrived, eyes tired as he took in the scene. The ruined supercar, the shaken teen, the woman mid-rant about entitled millionaires. He sighed, then asked to see the footage. When he did, his expression hardened. He turned to the girl. "Ma'am, did you damage this vehicle?" She opened her mouth, closed it, glanced at her mother, then looked down. "We're going downtown," he said. The station smelled like burnt coffee and poor decisions. Fluorescent lights hummed overhead as I sat across from Sergeant Delaney, a no-nonsense black woman with her hair pulled tight and eyes that had seen every Karen tactic imaginable. "I've synced your dash cam," she said. "Cloud verified. Timestamp checks out. Vehicle parked legally." Through the glass, I saw Karen pacing while her daughter slouched in a chair, scrolling TikTok like nothing mattered. Karen spotted me and stormed over. "This is outrageous," she hissed. "My daughter has anxiety. You traumatized her. And that car, do you even live here or are you just showing off?" "Step back," Delaney said calmly. Or I'll add obstruction. Karen flushed. I pay thousands in HOA fees. My husband knows the mayor. Great, Delaney replied. Tell him when you're bailing her out. That's when the girl broke. Mom, stop, she whispered. I did it. I thought it'd be funny. Karen spun on her. Don't admit anything. Too late. Willful destruction property over $5,000, Delaney said. That's a felony. Karen's mouth fell open. This isn't scratches, Delaney continued. That's panel replacement, frame damage, and loss of value. She looked at me. You pressing civil charges? For everything, I said. Karen gasped and dialed her phone. Greg, it's happening again. Greg Holloway, former cop, fired, HOA enforcer. Her husband. 2 days later, an HOA violation hit my mailbox. Unauthorized display of exotic vehicle. Fine, $2,500. Remove within 30 days. Scrawled in red. Park it where it belongs. Jail. That night, my motion lights exploded on. Greg stood at the edge of my driveway, arms crossed, staring at my Lamborghini like it owed him something. You lost. I asked. Just checking, he said flatly. Cameras fail sometimes. It wasn't a warning. It was a threat. Sleep didn't come easily after that. I barely closed my eyes. Instead, I hardened my perimeter, installed additional cameras, upgraded motion-trigger floodlights, reinforced blind spots, and quietly called my attorney. She'd worked with veterans before. She understood how situations like this tend to spiral once ego and authority get involved. The court date came fast. Karen arrived dressed for battle. Navy blazer, pearl necklace, hair lacquered into submission. Her daughter followed a step behind in a plain sweater, gaze fixed on the floor. Greg loomed in the back row, arms folded, glowering at anyone who dared look his way. Then the judge entered. She was a no-nonsense black woman with silver-threaded hair and a gavel that looked like it could crack granite. Greg straightened instantly. The prosecutor played my Dashcam footage on the courtroom monitor. A wave of gasps rippled through the gallery. Even Karen's attorney shifted uncomfortably in his seat. The judge turned to the girl. Young lady, do you understand the value of what you destroyed? The girl nodded, tears gathering. Then you'll understand why I'm ordering full restitution and mandatory community service. The judge paused, eyes flicking toward Greg. And why I'm referring this matter to the district attorney for potential parental liability. Karen's head snapped up. What? The gavel came down sharply. Bailiff, escort Mr. Holloway from courtroom. He is not listed as a witness and is currently under investigation for witness intimidation in a separate matter. Greg's face drained of color. As he was let out, shoulders stiff and jaw clenched, the temperature in the room seemed to drop. The bailiff didn't manhandle him, but the message was unmistakable. You're being watched. Karen sat frozen, whispering urgently to her lawyer, gesturing at the frozen frame on the monitor. Her daughter's hand mid-slash. The shriek of metal captured perfectly in the audio. The judge remained unmoved. Ms. Holloway, she said, voice steady as forged steel, your daughter has admitted to felony vandalism. The restitution estimate provided is $78,400, including panel replacement, paint correction, and loss of market value. Karen's mouth opened, then closed. That's outrageous. It's just a car. It is not just a car, the judge replied. It is private property. And in this state, willful damage exceeding $5,000 constitutes a Class D felony. Your daughter faces probation, community service, counseling, and financial restitution. As her guardian, you are jointly liable. Karen's eyes snapped toward me, blazing with fury and fear. He provoked her. Parking that thing in a family lot. It's a safety hazard. The judge exhaled slowly. Mr. Callahan parked legally. He harmed no one. There's no provocation in ownership. She turned to me. You're a veteran? Yes, Your Honor. Deployed. Twice. Iraq and Afghanistan. She studied me for a moment longer than necessary. Then you understand discipline and consequences. I do. Restitution will be paid in full within 90 days, she concluded. Failure to comply will result in wage garnishment, liens, and possible juvenile detention. Court adjourned. As people filtered out, Karen grabbed her daughter's arm. We're not paying that psycho a dime. The girl yanked free. I saw the footage. I did it. And now Dad's in trouble again because of you. Karen slapped her, not hard, but loud enough to echo down the hallway. The girl stood still for a beat, then turned and walked away alone. Karen remained, trembling, mascara streaking. For the first time, she didn't look powerful, just hollow. But the real storm hit that night. At 3 a.m., my phone chimed softly. Perimeter breach. Front driveway. Thermal anomaly detected. I was up instantly. Pulse steady. Mind sharp. Muscle memory. I pulled up the live feeds. She stood beside my Lamborghini under the floodlights. Not Karen, not Greg. The daughter. Shaking. A lighter in one hand. A rag soaked in something that shimmered. Gasoline. She fumbled with the lighter once. Twice. Then collapsed to her knees and sobbed. I stepped onto the porch, keeping my voice low. You don't want to do that. She jolted upright, terrified. I didn't know you'd be awake. I'm always awake, I said gently. Put the rag down. She did. Then she crumpled. They're going to take our house, she whispered. Mom screaming nonstop. Dad lost a security job. The HOA's suing us. It's all because of me. I approached slowly, hands visible. You thought burning my car would fix that. She shook her head violently. I thought maybe it would look like an accident. Maybe you'd drop the charges. That's not justice, I said quietly. That's just digging the hole deeper. She wiped her face. What do? I thought of Lily asleep upstairs, of how fast bad choices snowball. You tell the truth, I said. All of it. The next morning, I called Sergeant Delaney. I left out the gasoline. No reason to destroy a kid twice. I filed an addendum to my civil suit instead, requesting court-ordered family mediation and diversion. Karen was livid. You're mocking us, she screamed over the phone. Playing the hero while you ruin us. I'm giving your daughter a second chance, I replied calmly. Something you never did. 2 days before mediation, Greg showed up at my gate again. This time, he tossed a USB drive through the bars. Tell the judge, he said hollowly. It's all on there. The drive sat on my counter like a live grenade. I used a clean laptop. One file, HOA__vault. The footage was grainy. Hidden camera, probably Greg's old squad cam. Karen leaned over a table, stabbing a finger at a photo of my house. He's not one of us, she hissed. Ex-military. Unstable. Thinks he owns the street. Greg nodded. We can flag his clearance. Anonymous reports. High-value threat. I sat back slowly. This was no longer about a car. The footage left a chill running down my spine. Karen, Greg, and the other HOA members weren't just petty. They were strategic, organized, assets targeted, school records considered, concerned neighbor tips weaponized. One member hesitated. Isn't that illegal? Karen laughed sharp, echoing across the video. Only if you get caught. They voted unanimously to launch a harassment campaign disguised as community standards enforcement. My stomach sank. This wasn't a single act of vandalism. This was premeditated, targeted, systemic. I forwarded the file immediately to Sergeant Delaney and my attorney. By noon, the DA's office had opened a new investigation. Conspiracy to intimidate, retaliatory harassment, abuse of HOA authority. Karen and Greg were subpoenaed before sunset. At mediation 2 days later, tension crackled in the air. Karen stormed in, refusing to sit near her daughter. Greg didn't appear. His lawyer cited a medical emergency, though he was already facing half a dozen new warrants. The judge, sharp-eyed and unwavering, allowed my attorney play just 30 seconds of the HOA footage. Karen went pale. You planted that. You hacked our private meeting, she shrieked, pointing at me. The judge didn't flinch. Mr. Holloway voluntarily provided the footage in exchange for leniency regarding the arson attempt you ordered him to stage. Karen's eyes darted to Greg, standing cuffed in the doorway, flanked by deputies. His stare was empty. "I'm done covering for you," he muttered. The judge's gavel came down. "Miss Holloway, you face criminal conspiracy charges. Your daughter's case is sealed under juvenile diversion. You will pay full restitution plus $25,000 in punitive damages for malicious prosecution." She turned to me. "Mr. Callahan, any additional charges?" I looked at Karen. Not the snarl, not the red blouse, but the trembling hands, the hollow eyes of someone whose power was built on sand. "No, Your Honor," I said quietly. "She's punished enough." As I left, her daughter whispered, "Thank you." Karen sobbed alone as the courtroom emptied. My Lumbo sat in the garage, scratches catching light, a silent monument to the chaos Karen unleashed. But it wasn't the car I cared about. It was the aftermath. 2 weeks later, a handwritten note slipped under my gate. No return address. Shaky cursive on line paper. "I'm working at Scoop Haven now. Minimum wage. Paying you back $20 a week. Mom's in therapy. Dad's in rehab. I don't expect forgiveness, but I'm trying." I showed Lily. She read it twice, then asked serious, "Can we get ice cream from her place?" So we did. Mia, her hair pulled back, faded apron, no makeup, froze when she saw us. Her hands trembled as she handed over our cones. "Extra sprinkles on yours," she mumbled to Lily. Lily beamed. "I'm really sorry," Mia whispered. I looked her in the eyes. Not the vandal, not Karen's daughter, but a kid clawing back from a catastrophic mistake. "Own it every day and you'll be okay." She nodded, tears glistening. That took strength. Later that week, the HOA voted Karen off the board. Neighbors crossed the street to avoid her. Her SUV sat abandoned, weeds sprouting around it. Then the final twist. My attorney called. Greg cut a plea deal. He testified against Karen. No prison, but surrender of his concealed carry, 200 hours of community service, and permanent departure from the neighborhood. Reno, he was gone by morning. I watched the U-Haul pull into her driveway. Karen stood in the doorway, arms crossed, gray hoodie, limp hair. No sneer, no yell, just a defeated nod. Power built on cruelty collapses faster than you can say restraining order. But the war wasn't over. 3 days later, Dashcam pinged. A vehicle loitering. Karen's SUV? No. Marjorie, the HOA member who voted to run me out. Slashing tires under my motion lights at 1:17 a.m. box cutter dropped. Rubber residue on the grass. I filed a new civil suit. Intentional infliction of emotional distress and criminal mischief with premeditation. I called Mia. Hesitant, then, "Marjorie put Mom up to reporting you to Child Services. Said vets are ticking time bombs." I walked to 44,212. Plain clothes, no warning. She froze in her rose garden. I held up the box cutter. "Recognize this?" She went pale. "I don't know what you're talking about." "Dashcam does," I said calmly. "Police report filed an hour ago. I don't want to ruin you. I just wanted to stop." She clutched her cardigan, shaking. "You think you're better than us?" "No. I believe in consequences and accountability," I said. Then I turned and left, leaving the cutter on her porch. Next day, Marjorie resigned from the HOA. As I tucked Lily in, she asked, "Daddy, are we safe now?" I kissed her forehead. "We're always safe." But I didn't fully believe it. Karen's SUV was gone, but her moves were always calculated. 3 days later, Dashcam pinged again. Karen's SUV idling at the curb. She rolled down the window, hooded and tired. "I'm leaving tonight," she said, voice flat. "Reno, Greg's already there." I came to say, "I'm sorry." I read the court documents, watched the footage. I lost everything. My daughter won't speak to me. My neighbors cross the street. It's all because I couldn't stand seeing someone happy while I felt small. I didn't speak. She tossed a manila envelope onto my lawn. Everything on the HOA. Names, emails, secret votes. Greg recorded it all. Use it or burn it. I don't care. The SUV drove away, tail lights fading. By noon, For more HOA members were under investigation. A week later, the board was disbanded. Mia, still at Scoop Haven, still paying back her debt. Lily and I got ice cream again. Mia hesitated, then quietly said, Mom called in therapy, want to earn back someday. I nodded. Some scars never fully heal, but they stop bleeding. Justice isn't just about revenge. It's about accountability, growth, and refusing to stay silent.